Hey, Mom. So, I'm getting ready to, oops. I'm getting ready to, basically do the final step, if you will, in reviving the starter. So, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm basically getting my my ingredients measured and ready to go. So up until now, I've been doing a 1-to-1 ratio in terms of water and flour. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in half a cup of starter. Shoot, I think I just lost count. I think I just lost count. Hold on. Let me see what this looks like when I put it in. Oh no, we're good. Okay. So I've got half a cup of warm water. I've got 3/4 of a cup of flour. I use all-purpose flour. I'm going to get that out of the way. Okay, now I also need a half a cup of soda. So, all right, this sucker's full of hooch. It's a hungry baby. So, let me bring you down here and see if I can show you. So when you look in here, do you see that liquid on top? That is hooch. And you can do a couple of things. You can dump it, just kind of skim, slowly pour. The hooch will come out before the starter will. If you pour it fast, it's all going to come out. So if you slowly pour the hooch out, you can do that. I do not do that. I just mix it in. Unless that hooch has been sitting for a substantial amount of time. In that case, again, it really all depends on my mood. Typically, the hooch is there because the starter is hungry. Hold on. Hey, babe. Hey. Probably should just hit the pause button, but anyways, so that was Brett coming in to drop his dinner plate off and grab his ice packs. We're the old folks home over here. Let me tell you what. Okay, so anyways, let's get back to the starter. This is driving me crazy. Okay. So, I I don't know why. Is this... Hold on. Pardon the whole... maybe it's because of this. Hold on. Oops. Okay. There you go. All right. So, as I was saying, I mix it in. There's nothing wrong with it. I was taught that way, and so that's what I do. Okay, so I am gonna grab a whisk. Actually, I'm not gonna grab. Let's see. Yeah. I'm also gonna grab. Actually, hold on 1 minute. This is my what do they call that? It's not a whisk, but it is. I think it was. Oh, what is that? It is Dutch dough. Oh, for heaven's sakes, I can't think of what it's called. But it's very cool because once you're actually stirring dough and not batter-like consistency, this thing, the dough will go right through these various holes, and it's really easy to grab a hold of it and get through things, you know. So I'm going to mix this hooch in. I'm going to use this, but I'm not going to feed. So, see, you probably can't see it. Let me bring that up to you. All right, so this right here is an unfed starter. It's still pretty thick. But I'm going to take a half a cup of this out, and I'm going to put it into this weck jar. Okay. This is basically where I'm going to develop it for the rest of the way as a smaller and a more discarded version. So as I feed going forward, I will pull out a certain amount, and that will be considered discard. You can cook with that. You know, discard doesn't mean throw away. This first discard is throw away. But in any discard coming up after this is something that you can bake with. You can make waffles with. You can make muffins with. You can. There's a lot of stuff you can do, you know, with it. So, and then once I'm sure that I have this thing just doubling in size at the very least upon feeding, then I'm going to beef it up. I'm going to feed it to the point where I don't necessarily discard, because I'm trying to create a situation where I have 2 cups of fantastic starter. 1 cup will go into the smaller weck jar that I was telling you about. That will go into the refrigerator, and that's my backup. And then the other cup will just stay here in this jar, because I plan on baking with it. So, you know, we'll see what happens to the one on the counter. It's usually the one that. Anyways, so here we go. All of my half a cup measuring cups are in fact dirty. and that's saying something, because I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Do I only have 3? I thought I had 4. Well, I have at least 3. So, I guess what I'll do is I will use a 1/4 cup and a spatula. So now I'm going down in, and I'm gonna scrape the sides. We want the measurements, we don't want them to be off. Okay, so if I were to allow everything that's on the outside to make it in, that would not be good. All right, so there's a 1/4 cup. More of these, and then we'll move on to feeding the baby. Now, one thing that I have been trying to do is come up with a name for my starter. And I had it yesterday, and I should have written it down, and now today I can't remember what I came up with. I just really cannot remember. And that's so infuriating, because I really thought that I had come up with a good name. Anyways, okay, there's a 1/4 cup. Now let's get the other hand. Oh, there we go. All right. So and again, I'm following the direction of the people that sold me the starter have the specific directions on how they expect, on how to revive the starter that they sell. And everybody's got their own way of doing things. One way isn't any better than another. In terms of, it's pretty basic, it's flour and water. It's flour and water, and then your starter grabs wild yeast from the environment. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. 3/4 of a cup of flour to a 1/2 cup of water to a 1/2 cup of starter. So, starter's in the weck. There it is. Looks pretty flat, no bubbles. It is hungry. So I'm just gonna put the flour in. Again, some people mix their flour and their water outside of the jar, and then they put it in and mix it with the starter. I'm of the mind that the least amount of dishes that I have to do, the better. So basically, I put the flour in, I put the water in. I'm going to use a whisk, and because I'm in a weck jar, I'm actually using a coated whisk. So I will do that. Making sure to get down deep and make sure I bring the starter up from the bottom. Mix it really well. Okay. And I also like to just look around because you can see pockets of dryness. If they're in there, you can see them from the side of the jar. Okay, so essentially, I'm done. This jar is a hot mess now. See that? What a mess. Yikes. Okay, I'm pretty tired. I can't wait to go to bed. All right. So now I take my spatula and I do the same thing that I did when I had the starter in the plastic container. And that is scrape down your jar, scrape down the sides, bring it down to the level of starter, and you basically want to do that every time you feed. And I don't use a new jar every time I feed. I don't see any reason to do that. And typically you're feeding, if you're preparing to bake, you're feeding it, and then as the starter eats, it develops gas bubbles, and that is basically your leaven. That's what's going to give your bread the rise. That and going through all of the steps that you go through. Look, cooking sourdough. Well, I mean, there's just so many different ways to go at it. There's so many different types of sourdough bread you can make, and there's just, I mean, it's like anything else, there's stretch and folds, there's, there's lifting and putting back down, there's just a ton. But the bottom line is, you can't do any of that without a healthy starter. So I've cleaned down the sides. A couple of spots I probably could have gotten a little bit better. I might run my, I already tossed it in the sink. Anyways, now I'm going to go ahead and put the Weck lid back on. It has a gasket. And that creates, actually, you know what? I don't think that I ever used to lock this down. The one in the fridge I locked down. This one, I do not. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not going to lock that down. I don't typically lock the one on the counter down. Okay, so that's it. So that's sitting there. You know what? I'm going to lock it. There's been a gnat flying around here, and I would just be really ticked off if I woke up and found that sucker made its way into the jar. I almost got it. It keeps eluding me. So, okay. So now, so that stands 8 to 10 hours. bubbles should be. So I should see a big difference though, because I'm dealing with a smaller amount. And this is basically where I'm going to keep it at. And I'm just trying to make sure. Say back at least 3/4 of a cup of starter. Yeah, never use it all. If you're going to be baking, you need to make sure that you have a big enough starter going into your bake day. So if you need to really bulk that starter up, you need to do that before bake day. Bake day is not the day to do it. It's too late. So anyways, so now I've got this stuff, and I'm going to I hate to throw it out, but I'm going to throw it out. And honestly, I've heard horror stories about sourdough going down the drain. So I'm just going to put the lid on, and then I'm probably going to, in the morning, I will dump it in the garbage before we take it out. So, I have put starter down the drain, but I never put it just directly down the drain. Before I heard the horror stories, I would fill this container up with water and dilute it the entire time. But, yeah, sourdough, man, that's a whole different ball game than regular dough. It's a lot stronger. So, all right, well, that's gonna do it for today. We now went from this thing to this thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this is gonna look first thing tomorrow morning. So it actually said 8 to 10 hours. That's no bueno. Let's see here. So 6. Midnight. Man, I don't want to get up in the middle of the night. Okay. Well, I guess it's going to be really hungry when I get up in the morning, because I'm not getting up at 2 or 3 in the morning to feed this thing. 1 or 2, I don't know. Whatever. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Anyways, okay. Well, we'll see where we're at tomorrow. I am going to make the tomato sauce tomorrow with the Romas, and I've already roasted the garlic, and I've roasted the tomatoes, and tomorrow is making candy. So yeah, that ought to be fun. I don't know if I'm going to film it. I'll try. I'll try. There's just a lot going on, and I don't know how to edit. I don't. Honestly, I do not know how to edit. So, we'll see how it goes. If it doesn't go well, I don't know. Anyways, at the very least, I'll show you a before and after. All right. Well, love you. It was good talking to you today, Mom. And don't worry, I still have your jam. I plan on sending you up a bunch of stuff. So, okay. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye.